What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got Steven's car fired up. We still got a few things to address on it, but the motor's running, so we'll get everything else dialed in, get this thing broke in a little bit, and get her on the dyno. Also, if you look here, we got a Subaru motor up. I'll post a link in the top of the description, or excuse me, in the top of this video, to the black WRX that we diagnosed. Matter of fact, coal pack's still out. You see, we got this one out. The spark plug was smashed. You already know the common problem with these Subarus, ringland failure. So we've got underneath this box here, boom, got a new short block from IAG. So we're gonna get this thing tore down, obviously get the head checked, make sure the valve is okay on that, the valves are okay on that cylinder. And if all that stuff checks out, we'll slap that IAG block on here, new head gaskets, ARP it, get her all dialed in, replace, you know, whatever we find gasket and seal wise that needs to be replaced, and get this Subaru back on the road. But missed the motor coming out. I was busy today running errands. John got it pulled out, so that's good. And then give you all a little sneak peek of something here. See these monster tires. Woo! 37 12 50 R17s. Got 5 of them. And them big ass monsters are going on that Jeep. So we got a shit ton of work going on this Jeep. I'll get you guys up to speed here shortly on that. And right here is the Subaru that we pulled the motor out of. So that one, we'll be getting that one back together here shortly. But I want to show you something else that we have going on. And I think you guys have seen this car in one of the videos. This is Gigawood Scat. It's a 426 with a Whipple on it. You know, we tuned this thing, and I think we've done a few other small things to it, but the big thing is we tuned it, and it actually went to another shop to have a belt replaced. And while it was at that other shop having the belt replaced, they noticed that the actual factory harmonic balancer, everybody knows they're 2-piece, got a rubber isolator on them. Anyway, it started to fail. So the smart move was to get a dampener on it, do an ATI. So they got I think a 10% overdriven, maybe a little bit more, I don't remember exactly, because the car came back to us for the retune after the dampener. But they put the dampener on, and he hit us up saying the car wasn't running right, felt like lack of power, and his alternator wasn't charging. And I'm going to skip some of the other stuff that we talked about over the phone, but told him to go ahead and just bring it in so we could check it out. And I just popped the belt off of it, and I'm going to have to get a light. Give me 1 second. So as you can see, the ATI dampener's down here, and we have a problem. Look at this. It's about to fall off. And so as soon as I noticed that, I went ahead and found out the other shop that it went to have that put on. And lo and behold, they did not keyway the crank when they put the dampener on. So we're gonna get this thing tore off and check the actual crank snout, make sure it's not damaged, make sure nothing else is damaged, and then we'll figure out our course of action for repair. But this is just kind of a PSA, I don't know what you want to call it, but anytime any of these Hemi cars you do any kind of force induction, you need to pin the crank. If you guys buy these kits off of other people used, they're not going to come with the pin kit. Most of these kits all come with pin kits when they're new. They're not going to come with it, and a person that doesn't know any better isn't going to put a pin kit on it, and this is one of the things that can happen. So I'm not here to bash the other shop. I'm not here for any of that other bullshit. This is just an announcement so you guys don't have any problems like this with your cars if you have a Mopar and you put a Pro Charger on it, you put a Whipple on it, you put any kind of forced induction that is belt driven on these motors, you need to pin the cranks. But we're gonna get this thing tore apart, figure out what all is damaged or what's not damaged, and get back with the customer. But that's pretty much what we got going on. All right guys, so it is the next day and John got the Subaru motor tore apart. And if you give me 1 sec, I'll have him lift the head so that way you guys can see what that ringland failure looked like. So as you can see, top of the ringland busted out, and then all those chunks of metal went whee all over. Ooh, just all over in there. Danced around and spit it out. So we're gonna need to get some new valves in this thing. So we'll get the head cleaned up and then take over to the machine shop and get some valves for it. So we went ahead and got the head dropped off for the Subaru down at the machine shop, so they'll get trucking on that one. And then we went ahead and got started on our other project, the Jeeparoni. We got tons of parts going on this thing. It'll probably be a multi-part video, not really sure yet, we will see. But as you can see, the fenders are off of it. John's working on the back there, getting the back fenders off. We got different fenders going on it. I mean, this thing's gonna be getting a slew of parts. We're doing, I think, an 8-inch lift, maybe a 6, I can't remember. Whole front suspension, gear change, roof rack, the spare tire, a new spare tire holder in the back, you know, because gotta have a heavy duty one to hold up these 37s. It's getting air lockers, all sorts of goodies. This thing's gonna be a beast when it's done. But John went ahead and got started on it, so keep y'all updated with the progress on it. Oh, I know, a little shell shock, shaved my face. Uh-oh, get over it. Anyways, it's hot as shit. We got this Neon SRT4 in. I don't know if you guys recognize this car, but I'll post the link in the description. I'll post the link in the top of this video of this car. We tuned this car a little while back, and then I think there's another video where this car came back for some diagnostic, and it ended up being his turbocharger was blown. So we got a new turbo on it, and he's brought it back to us to get it redialed in and tuned. Just kind of to recap on this thing for those of you who don't know about this car. Whew, it's bright. It's 04 SRT4. It's got the AC and power steering deleted. It's got a brand new, I think he said 5558 or I do not remember the exact specs on the turbo. It's, I think, a little bit smaller than the one that was on it, but either way, big turbo, AGP return line, 1000cc injectors, fuel pump, you know, blow off valve, big intercooler, motor mounts, you know, the standard stuff. I want to say the last time this thing was on the dyno, it made just over 400. We're gonna try to fall in that same realm again. He says he wants a little bit more, so we might try to push this thing to 450, but at the same time, this thing is a stock bottom end. So those of you who know, over 400 horsepower is kind of dangerous. It's the limit. So he said he's cool with it if it pops, but we're gonna let it rip. All right, guys. So, ooh, man, it's a hot one today. Went ahead and pulled the file out of the car, looked over it again. Everything looks good, but new turbo, we're, you know, retuning this thing. So I went ahead and pulled some timing out of it. I'll make this first tug and see where this thing ends up, and then we'll start putting the power back in it. Alright guys, we had to make a few changes. There was some stuff out of whack on this thing. But I think we got that stuff lined out. So we'll go ahead and make another tug. Turn that one up. Have John look at fuel pressure while we make this run, just make sure everything stays okay. Here we go. Alright guys, that pool was pretty clean. It's a little lean up top. I'm not made some changes to the vacuum lines. It's from about $5,000 to $6,000. It was starting to go lean. So make sure that we don't have an issue with the fuel pump here, and then we'll keep going. We'll see what this pool makes. Well guys, unfortunately the SRT dyno is coming to an end for today. We got a fuel pump issue, so we're gonna get this thing off the rolls, and as soon as we get the lift opened up again, we'll get the fuel tank out of this thing and get the pump replaced on it. So be on the lookout for this thing to hit the rolls again. It made more on the third pull than it made the last time I was here. It made 420 horsepower, and I checked the dyno gas before, and it made 416. So it made a little bit more already with the new turbo, but it's not safe. So we got to get these fueling issues fixed, and then we'll get this thing back on the rolls and rip it again. Alright guys, it's the next day. We got this Challenger behind me here. It's got an exhaust leak. So we're troubleshooting that, figure out where that leak is, get that resolved. And then, as you know, yesterday that other SRT was womp womp. We got a fuel pump issue that we got to get resolved. But we got another SRT on the rolls this morning. This car, not sure what all's done to it. The customer did send me a short list, and as you can see, I've already started tearing into it a little bit. I know it's got 1000cc injectors and 60 trim turbo, but beyond that, not sure. It's got a blow-up valve, a front mount, and motor mounts, the usual stuff that pretty much all these cars have by now. We don't have a return fuel system, so that is definitely going to be a limiting factor on power today. The car is going to be tuned on pump gas. And oh yeah, it has cams. No adjustable gears, but it has cams. So I already tore into it because I was checking the vacuum lines. We're gonna have to fix some things with the vacuum lines, but once we get that resolved, we'll get this thing strapped down and make a baseline tug and see where we end up. Alright guys, so it was a quick fix on this RT. Ended up just having some collector bolts had come loose, so put a new lock washer on them and put them tighten them back up, and hopefully that doesn't happen to them again. But this one's done. We're gonna get this one out, and then we've got Moody's SRT8 Jeep coming in next. So guys, we got Moody's Jeep in here. Moody's been a long time customer. This is his 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8. He brought her to us today. Do a little sparkle plug change and an oil change. But this thing's pretty clean for a 2012. I think it's just got a muffler delete and a Diablo tuner on it. But nice looking Jeeperoni. We'll go ahead and get this thing wrapped up and get her on back to him. So guys, I didn't actually end up filming this. After we let the car back down and fired it back up, we could still hear a faint leak. And upon closer inspection, after fixing the big leak, come to find out the top of the gasket on the headers had started leaking. And it is what it is. This car has some shorty headers on it, and I think they're BBKs, and we all know the gaskets on those are kind of questionable, a little bit shitty. So we went ahead and pulled that header off and put a OEM gasket on it, put it all back together. Well, John did it extremely quick, kudos to him. But it's all done, and then now I went ahead and got started on this and pulled the plugs out, and John's already putting the new plugs in on Moody's. And after lunch we'll get the oil changed, and we'll get both of these Mopars back to their owners. Alright guys, the day is about done. As you can see from the sweat mark, it's been a hot one today. You see the red SRT we showed this morning is leaving, and the reason why the reason why there was no more footage of that thing dynoing today is because we never got that far. So unfortunately, it turns out that is a very early 03 SRT, and it's still an NGC1 controller and the PCM, and unfortunately HP Tuners does not cover that one. So if you go on their website, you see it covers 2003 to 2005 SRT4s. However, the very early 03s are running a different PCM. So we weren't able to get into the PCM. We fixed some of the vacuum line issues and went over some things that he wants, because after looking over the car I realized he wasn't necessarily going to reach his goals. So I made recommendations on what we're going to change in the car so that way he can meet his goals. And so he's going to go home and get those things ordered, get a boost controller. We're going to go ahead and get a AGP return line for it. And a couple of other small things, and then he already ordered, since I talked to him this morning, he already ordered a stage 1 PCM out of an 04, or he bought one used. So he's got that coming on the way, and he's going to get that put in the car, get it married, get the car back up and running, get those other parts, get them installed, bring the car back. So be on the lookout for that video here in the next couple of weeks. And but that's that for today. John's been hard at it on the Jeep, getting started on the new spare tire holder for these big ass 37s. But like, share, subscribe. We look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Peace.